Hello friends, Crystal here, your Vibrant BF, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This month of October, we are discussing the 8 dimensions of wellness. This week, we are kicking off with social and career. So when we think about social, it's a very important component, like all of them, obviously. The 8 dimensions of wellness are all important, but with social, what's the first thing you think about when you think of social? Social gatherings, social clubs, socializing, and in this new world of our digital age and everything being online, social can sometimes feel very intimidating, being out amongst people. But we as humans are social beings. We need each other. We need human interaction. We need human touch. We need to be around other humans. It is an important aspect. And more times than not, many people don't feel comfortable or don't like being out. It's because of traumas that has happened in social gatherings due to abuse, making fun of, bullying, whatever that may look like for each individual person. There is a trauma there with socializing with people and not feeling seen, not feeling appreciated, not feeling loved, not being heard, whatever the case may be. This is why it's so important to have good social groups, good social environments, healthy relationships, whether they be at work, at school, and homes, personal, intimate, whatever it may be. It's really important to understand who you are as a person so that you can attract those of similar vibrations, right? And so that you can really come together and live in harmony and coexist in harmony and really get the benefits that come from being social beings and interacting with others. So when you think about your own personal social circle, what does that look like? I want you to think about first friends, right? So family's a little different. Yes, they are other humans, but more often than not, if we have children, they have to be in the house with us, whether we want them to or not. Kidding, kind of. But whether it be your partnered, things like that. So let's start with social outside of the home structure, right? So who is it that you are closest to? Think about some of your close friends. This is a really good exercise because it helps you to think like, wait a minute, who am I close to? Because you may, unfortunately, say, I don't really have that many close friends. Now, as women, it has been literally scientifically proven that we as women especially need friendships. We need those social interactions for our mental health. So well-being overall. So this is really, really important. So if you are a female and you're like, wait a minute, I don't really know if I have that many close friends, I want you to think of some associates then. So maybe there's some associates that maybe it's through your job, maybe it's through your kids' parents' friends, maybe it's just out and about, whatever it may be. I want you to think about who these people are. And I want you to give yourself a moment to just accept whatever it is and whatever the situation may be now, whether you have really good close friends or you really don't have any, without judgment. Whatever that may be, just be honest, take a deep breath, exhale, and say, okay, this is where we are. And I want you to think about what it is that you desire in the sense of what is it that you want to feel? When you are helping someone, for example, why are you helping them? You're like, well, I think it's nice, or I just want to be a help, or I know what it feels like to not have anybody when I needed somebody and I don't want anybody else to experience that. Whatever the case may be, I want you to think about why it is you are the person you are, why you are the friend you are. And then I want you to think about that being reciprocated back to you. Your birthday is not going to go recognized because you have those who are grateful that you were born. Or maybe if you're going through a rough patch, your house is not going to completely look like a tornado because you're going to have friends come over and help you clean or bring you meals or whatever the case may be. And it's about connection. It's not about just servitude. I know I'm using a lot of examples of service, but this is why it's really important to have social interactions, because it's not just about brunching and laughing, right? It's about when life really starts to life and gets very difficult in different seasons. We need to have those that will help hold us up, who will help reflect back to us our magic, our goodness, and that we matter. This is why it's all important to have yourself surrounded around people that really see you for who you are, not what you can give them, not what you can do for them, but really see you as a person and want to help you and want you to live your best life and want to encourage you. You know, the world has enough critics, so be someone's cheerleader. So I want you just to write down some things of what does a social circle looks like that feels very fulfilling, you know, whether it's girls trips and it is brunch dates. And it's also those that you can call when maybe your partnership is strained, or maybe your child is going through something heavy, or maybe work is really stressful, or maybe you just feel very empty and you're not really sure what to do. I want you to write those things down. And then I want you to start living from that space, because to be a beautiful example of what it is to be a friend, you first need to be that. So start showing up as that person. Not everybody deserves all the goodness of you, right? I'm very big on boundaries, and you don't want to cast your pearls amongst swine for is one of the examples. And it's basically like, you don't want to just give people your goodness who aren't even wanting it, right? And they're just going to dismiss it, and that may make you feel less. So use discernment. Find those people who really truly want to be connected. And energy doesn't lie, right? People can say a lot of things, but energy does not lie. So listen to the energy. Listen to your intuition. Does this person feel safe? Open yourself a little bit, and let's go out for drinks. Let's go out for coffee. Let's go out for tea. Let's go take a walk. Let's go on a hike and get to know this person. Start talking, be open, be curious, right? We're not looking for more of us. We're looking for those that are in harmony with us, that are compatible with us, that can enrich our lives in some way, right? And people come in our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. But whatever that is, be open and honest and create a social circle that feels good to you. Now, I want to talk a minute about families, because yes, your children, different. Partnerships, if they are not in alignment, you may want to look at finding someone that is, or removing one that isn't. That is a whole nother conversation, but just being really honest with yourself. There's a Nelson Mandela quote, which is one of my favorites, and it states, "There is no passion in playing small and settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living." So there is no reason, if you are in a partnership, a marriage, whatever it is, that does not feel fulfilling, that does not feel enriching, does not feel like it's positive, like it's going somewhere, that it's actually feeling your life with goodness, right? I'm not saying everything is rainbows and sunshines, but that isn't beneficial, truly. May it be emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, whatever it may be. Look at it as a whole, and how does that person make you feel? Do you feel appreciated? Do you feel loved? Do you feel honored? Do you feel respected? And are you too giving that back in return? And I want you to think about, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a sibling, maybe it's an aunt, an uncle, cousins, whoever. Just because you share DNA encoding, if these people do not see you, respect you, love you, honor you, cherish you, then they may not be able to be allowed in your social circle. And I want you to know that you have full autonomy of who you allow in your space. This also goes with online. Yes, socially, we can be in person or we can be online. If you are following somebody or connected with somebody online that doesn't feel safe for you in any arena, right? It doesn't have to be a physical safe. It could be emotionally safe. Remove them from your space. You have autonomy to create a social circle, a social well-being that feels healthy and whole to you, right? So you have to check in with yourself and know what that feels like, and honor the fact that it's okay if things change. If those people that once were very edifying and felt really good to your nervous system no longer, because you've evolved, they've stretched, they've grown, whatever the case may be, it is okay to change. Just like the seasons change, it is okay that everybody is not in our life for all of eternity. Again, a reason, a season, or a lifetime is why people come into our lives. And each person is either a mirror to mirror back to us things about ourselves, good and bad, a teacher that could be more of a mentorship, maybe they're a few steps ahead of where you would like to be, or a expander Now, these people could feel sometimes like an op, your opposition. They could feel like they're, what is this person? But they could be stretching you out of your comfort zones, and it may feel uncomfortable. But how is it done? Is it done with love? And of course, they can run all three areas, but they'll have a main purpose. So really understanding what role you're playing in people's lives to the best of your ability, and then what roles they're playing in your lives. And does it feel aligned? I'm not saying it has to always feel good, because a true friend is going to stretch you, is going to question, is going to hold the mirror up and say, you're better than this, or do you feel good about this, or why are you doing this, or why are you settling for this? True friends tell you the truth, and the truth isn't always pretty. So really getting clear on who is in your social circles, online and in person, and clearing out. It's time for an audit. It's okay. Thank them for their service, whether it be physically saying, I feel like we've aligned differently and we're moving in different spaces, or just letting it naturally dissolve, whatever that looks like for you, honoring it and moving on without guilt. And if they come back, who knows, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years later, there'll be a new space you guys could rekindle. Who knows? But in this season, do an audit and see who is feeling aligned for your social circle. Next is career. Now, when we think of career, many times people are like, oh my God, 40 years at the same job. That's not always the case. What does your career look like? This is what you are doing to create financial substance in your life. And it could look many different ways. I'm probably on my 8th, 9th, 12th career by this point. It's looked many different ways. Now, a career can be different things. Maybe you are in the military. Maybe you're in advertising. Maybe you're a writer. But I want you to know that you have permission as well to pivot. You may have gotten your degree in literature, and maybe now you want to go and become a baker. Maybe you're an attorney, and now you want to be a carpenter. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, what is your talents, your gifts, your ability? What lights you up? And we hear like, oh, it's not about always, what lights us up. We have to put on the table. Absolutely. Yes. And different seasons may need you to do different things. But really getting honest with yourself. And if you're not able to do what lights you up and live in your gifts and your talents as of yet, do it as a creative outlet. Do it as a hobby. Because it's really important that we fortify and fuel these passions and desires that only we have. Now, your career is also very important because it really sets the pace of what are non-negotiables for you, in the sense of not all money is good money, right? And so maybe it's a career with, and I'm going to say it, maybe you work with ICE, for example, in the US, and that is highly controversial because you are literally tearing families apart, especially the way that the US has done it without a lot of lawful backing. But you're like, well, I got a $50,000 signing bonus. Yeah, but how does your soul feel, your heart feel, your mind feel? Have you ostracized family members and things like that? You really have to think about what it is you are doing outside of just the money, right? How are you contributing not just to your financial future, family, but how are you contributing societally? This is collective consciousness. We are all connected. We just talked about social, whether we want to be or not. We are all living on planet Earth. So how are we contributing or taking away from some of the things that we all need collectively as humans? So really thinking about your career and understanding that you have permission to pivot. If it feels like, I love this when I was in my 20s and 30s, but I want something else. And being curious on what that may look like, and understand one of the advantages of living in this new day and age is there's so many ways to create wealth, financial, but it's really understanding what we are capable of, thinking, what am I capable of? If we are really structured into this is how it has to be done, A, B, C, D, when that's not necessarily the truth, that's your belief. And so that's how you're going to have it play out for you. But if you think I can create any life I want, I know people personally who have literally created jobs and are literally millionaires. And that's not even exaggerating. They really just betted on themselves and they're like, I'm really good at this and I'm going to do this. Maybe it's, I'm going to do tarot online. And they've created multiple streams of income because of this. whatever it may be. That wasn't even a job, a career, but they leaned into their talents and their gifts, and they betted on themselves, and they said, it doesn't have to look like this. It can look any way I want, and I'm going to believe that it's all working out, and I'm going to stay committed, and I'm going to be consistent, and it did work out. So really questioning, thinking, what does it look like? What does my career look like? What do I want to do now? What are my gifts? What are my natural abilities that will help to contribute to the collective consciousness, to society, not just me and my family, but overall? How can I contribute? So that is this week's the 8 Dimensions of Wellness. We covered social and career. Last week, I can't remember what we covered last week, but next week we are down to the last 2. I think it is financial and intellectual. Don't quote me on that. But I will see you next week for the last 2 to tie up this month's of October 8 Dimensions of Wellness. I would love for you to drop in the comments below what spoke out to you. Do an audit of who is in your social circle. Do an audit of how you're feeling in your career. And I will see you next week. Thanks so much for joining. Bye-bye.